Hey guys, welcome to the high ground. My name is Fabio and today I'll show you how to craft ranger beads yourself. As part of my LandNav series, I showed in an earlier video how to use ranger beads. And the most common question I got from this video is, hey, it's nice to know how to use them, but how can I make them myself? And in this video, I'll show you. Now, first for the materials you will need. First of all, of course, good old paracord. This is 550 paracord. It's olive green. You can use whichever color you like. The second thing you'll need are the beads itself. They are nothing than little pearls. And maybe important to know, I use pearls with a diameter of 9 millimeter, and the hole in the middle of the pearls of the beads is 4.7 millimeters. So 4.7 millimeters is the perfect diameter to use together with 550 paracord. If you have thinner paracord, you might want to use a smaller diameter hole. And last but not least, you will need a pair of scissors. That's pretty obvious. And in the end, also have a lighter at hand. Before we actually start crafting our ranger beads, I want to give you a few measurements. With the method I'll show you, you will be able to adjust the length of your ranger beads even after you have thread the beads on the paracord. But still, if you want to have a loop like this, and it might look a little bit long, but if you really fold it in half to thread part of your backpack through it, it's not that long anymore. So it's not a huge loop, and I figured that I will at least need it this length. If you want to do it like that, you will need roughly 1 meter of paracord. Now, if you want to have a bigger loop at the end, you will need more. If you want to have a smaller loop, then of course you will need less. Okay, then now let's get started. So the first thing you have to do, take a little piece of paracord, it's 3 inch, 8 centimeters, and pull one of the cores out, like this. Now, in general, for the ranger beads, you have two possibilities. You can either craft them from paracord that still has its core in it, or you can use paracord from which you removed the core. I will show you both versions. I personally, in my ranger beads that I use on an everyday basis, they still have the core in it, just because I don't see any reason why I should waste 50 centimeters or 100 centimeters, if I open it up, of perfect paracord in an emergency situation. Don't see the necessity, but of course, if you remove the core, the ranger beads will be a little bit more flexible, it will be softer, so that's both up to you. I'll show you first what you can do to keep the core in it, and then I'll show you a version with the core removed. Now let's put this away. We only need a single strand. And then let's get our pearls. As said, roughly 9 millimeters in outer diameter, 4.7 millimeter hole. And you need 9 of those beads and pearls. Here we have 4, 7, 8, 9. 200 of those beads cost me roughly $6. So they're pretty cheap. You can make a lot of ranger beads with them. And stay here. And now, of course, you need the paracord. Let's open it up. And the question is, how long should it be? As I said, for my paracord or for my Ranger bits, I need roughly 1 meter, but you never know until you try. And the easiest thing that I recommend doing is don't cut the paracord already at the beginning. Just leave it like this in a double strand and start threading the beads onto the paracord. And how I do it is I take the little strand that I pulled out of the small piece, thread it through a loop, and then I have it much easier to thread it through the bits. And on it goes. And we do that for all of our 13 bits. And then I'll show you the next steps. Okay, we're done with the first step. We have all 13 bits on the paracord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And now with this method, you're still free to change the length of the paracord. That means you can still pull one side through and make it shorter or longer, however you need it. So especially if you do it for the first time, I find it very, very easy to prepare your Ranger bits like that. Now, what you want to do is you want to think backwards. So we start here and then think how much space do we actually need. We will use overhand knots to distinguish between the different parts of the Ranger bits, and you can assume that an overhand knot will use roughly 3 centimeters of paracord, so you have to keep that in mind. Okay, let's get started. So we need the 9 lower bits and the 4 upper ones. Now we want to have a knot here. It will need additional 3 centimeters, so a little bit out, and 3 centimeters. We would have the knot here. That would be fine. Then we want to push the pearls down there. Okay. And between the pearls and the next knot, you want to have 2 fingers wide of space. So that means we will have the next knot here, additional 3 centimeters to do the knot. That's roughly this. Then we have the 4 bits here, and for the 4 bits, it's usually enough to only have 1 finger wide like this. I'm not flipping you off. I'm not showing you the bird. Can also take it like this, and then have the knot that will go until here. So this will be roughly the length of your loop at the end of your Ranger bits. If you put that in half like this, might be a little bit long compared to the one I have, but that's your personal decision how you want to do it. Let's say you want to have a shorter loop, then just slide everything up a bit, slide everything up a bit here, and now remember to pull one part of the paracord through, because we don't want to waste any material here. Just need to have the right side. It's like this, and then we push it back. So it's really easy to adjust the length of the paracord if you have the bits put on it like that. Now you have to make the decision if you want to go with the core still in the paracord or if you want to remove the core. Obviously, if you want to remove the core, you have a few additional steps. You have to now cut the paracord, pull off all the bits, and then remove the core and do it again. And I'll show you how this is done. As said, let's assume that this is the length we want to have. We take a pair of scissors and just cut the paracord in half. like this. We don't need the rest anymore. Then we have to pull off the bits, as I said. So you're doing that step double, but it shouldn't take you much more than a few minutes to have all the bits back on the paracord. Like this. Okay. And the last ones go down this side. And now you can just go ahead and remove whichever amount of core strands you want to have. I will pull out all of them just for purposes of demonstration and so that you will see the difference that it makes in the end. Voila, this is done. We don't need it anymore. And then we're doing basically the same thing. We put the short single strand through it and start threading the beads on the paracord. So like this. If the small cord gets a little bit frayed, like here, I just tend to cut off a piece. Come on. Maybe you should use sharp scissors, but now I have it. Away with you. And here we go again. And one. Of course, it goes a little bit easier now because there is no core in the paracord anymore, but the 4.7 millimeter hole still works. So you have one solution there for both versions. Okay, and you don't have to watch me threading the pearls on it. I'll just cut back when I have it done. Okay, now I have all the bits on there. Important, the paracord is more or less the same length at the end. And now I can start making my knots. I like starting from the beginning, from the lower side, and I just put a overhand knot in there, like this, tighten it up, and here we go. Then I take the first 9 bits and push them down. Now I said I want to have 2 fingers wide before the next knot, so the next knot has to go somewhere here. I grab it and then just thread the upper side through it. Threading the upper side through it will help me to get the knot in the position I want. If I would start threading the lower side through, I would lose the length from this side. I don't want that. This means I'm going with the upper side. You can always adjust the knot if you think it's too far up or too far down, but this should be more or less good. 2 fingers, that's perfect. Now we have the second part. Again, 1 finger, 2 fingers as you want to. Take that one, put again an overhead knot on it, and here we go. For aesthetic reasons, you can make sure that all the rope strands or the paracord strands are nice and tidy, but you don't have to. It doesn't change anything in terms of function. Okay, and here we have our ranger bits. I'll show you the one with a core next to it. You see the knots are substantially thicker. Therefore, they also used a little bit more material. The length is more or less identically. The only thing we need to do now is to finish up the ends so that we don't have a lot of frayed material up here. And I'll also show you how that is done. Okay, I got myself a little piece of cardboard. The finished are put away, and I have my lighter. And I'm doing nothing but just setting the end on fire, melting it. It doesn't need to burn. It's enough if it melts down, and then you can push it on the cardboard. You can push with the lighter on top. Give it another few burns. like this, push, do the same thing on the other side, like this. Of course, you shouldn't breathe in too much of this stuff, so don't, or maybe if you do 200 pairs of Ranger bits, then take a face mask or something like that. But for this one, that's it. And again, just as a comparison, you see this one is a little bit stiffer. If I have this one, it's a little bit more floppy. Yeah. Enter dick joke here, right? So that's it. This is how you craft some Ranger bits for yourself. And that's already it. That's how you build Ranger beats. I hope this video was somewhat helpful for you. If you liked it, please give us a thumbs up, follow the channel. If you have any questions, leave us a comment below, and I'll see you next time.